Good evening. Welcome to Psychic Perceptions. My name is Lorraine Recchia, and tonight's guest is Joe Trolly, psychic, and this is the last show of the year, so it is our holiday show, and Joe is notorious for doing the holiday show. So let's welcome Joe Trolly to the show. How are you tonight, Joe?
Fine, thank you.
Good. We were talking before the show, and Joe always fascinates me with his insight and his beliefs and his ponderings on spirit. So what I wanted to do was just ask him a few questions about what he's working on now. He is working on a book. He's working on 2 books, actually. And I wanted to ask you, because I don't even know this, and I know you personally, but I don't know how you started on this path or what your first experience might have been.
Yeah.
If you could tell us.
The first experience that I can remember, I was a teenager, maybe I was 12, 13. And I remember the corner in the neighborhood, and this friend of ours, he was right in front of us talking to me, and he went over to the other friends, and I said to one friend of mine, he's going to die. 3 days later, he was hit by a bus that ran over him and killed him.
So that was your first insight?
That was my first memorable insight.
And what did you think about that as a child?
I thought it was strange, but I didn't ruminate on it. I remember it, and I went, wow, you know, but it didn't scare me.
Right.
Didn't scare me.
And after that, how long did it take before you had another one?
Oh, it's I laugh because
if there's a funny story, we all want to hear it.
When I became of drinking age, at that time was 18. We did it at 16, you know, in Brooklyn. But I remember sitting at the bar, having a few beers, and someone next to me, and I'd start talking to them, and I'd be telling them things about themselves.
Okay.
And they'd say, how did you know that? I said, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I could relate. See, I could relate. I think we open up to being psychic before we even realize we are being psychic.
Exactly.
You're right, you know.
And it's when your inhibitions are gone. Now, in one of the books I'm writing, I mentioned Jose Silva. Remember Silva Mind Control?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and he taught his kids how to go into this alpha state where there are no distractions, so that they could study well and they could remember well and have better recall. And it's just a matter of going into like that state of being that you're in just before you fall asleep.
Right, right.
You know, it's like
a drifty. It's like a little drifty.
Yeah, it's a little drifty, and you calm yourself. You study well. You remember well. You stop from falling asleep, obviously, and you have a consciousness that doesn't have a lot of distraction in it.
Right,
and you can focus. And that's the place I immediately go instantaneously to start a reading. Like I don't, I no longer have to do what I did years ago. Is light the candle, put the incense on, put the ding dong music on, you know, and wait for spirit.
All the props, yeah.
Now it's like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have, I have to be conscious. This is what I'm going to do because I don't walk around being psychic.
Right.
There's a time and a place for it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know.
But I think, and setting the intention, like you said, is quicker than lighting a candle and lighting incense and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, oh, do you sage? And I said, you know, I am a sage. You're a sage.
Yeah.
Why should I light something when I could just see my energy expanding and just knocking everything out? I use visualization a lot, and I'll use little tricks like that, and I clear the room.
Yeah.
So, you know.
When I was writing the other day, I was answering the question, how do you do it? And someone asked me, Joe, how do you do it? So I'm 6 pages into it.
Wow.
Still answering the question. And I say, I go into this alpha state, like Jose Silva taught them. And I says, and at that point, there's like a fog, a mist that expands, and my consciousness can travel in that mist. It's imaginary, but it's real. It feels real. And
so you have a glow right now as you're talking to me, and it's getting bigger as you're talking.
And that's where I travel in
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I travel in that. And that, so that I have a brain, I have a heart, I have
Right.
feelings,
Yep.
but I have an ethereal duplicate
Yeah,
of that that's
yeah.
out there, that's connecting to other spirits, if you want to call them that, other intelligences or whatever. And they're having a conversation, and my ethereal self turns around and gives it back to me.
Wow.
That's how I see it working.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, like having an interpreter.
It's exactly
Yeah.
that. Now, years ago, I could not describe it this way because I haven't studied enough, I haven't
Yeah.
had enough experience.
Right.
Being a good psychic requires a lot of skill, a lot of experience, a lot of study, which I know you do.
Dedication, yeah.
And I do. And it makes for a master, like a maestro of music.
See,
There's
I'm
a
growing
point.
every day.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a point before, there's a point where they'll say, maestro,
Yes.
maestra, you know.
Yes. Maestro. I'd like to just tell everybody, I'd like to ask Joe to give his information because he's just so amazing and the conversation gets me so excited when I'm speaking with him. So before we go any further, because we'll do this at least 3 times, give your phone number or your website or whatever you would like to.
Yeah. It's Joe, J-O-E, Trolly, Trolly.com.